Welcome to Millennial Man, the 13th floor. Today we're going to read Chapter 4, Mistakes. Lord knows I've made enough of them. Chapter 4, Mistakes. As we go through life, we find ourselves making mistakes. We all have made mistakes throughout our lives in various areas. Some mistakes are minimal, some are very serious and significant. The discussion of men making mistakes has many different angles. What they all have in common is the fact that we can learn from them. Mistakes are lessons. They can be tools used to build better people, more experienced and more wise men, millennial men. Mistakes can give a certain education that one cannot attain anywhere else or even purchase. Experience can be quite valuable, even priceless. How does the discussion of making mistakes and their educational value affect the millennial man? It affects us because as men, we are responsible for our own learning and our own actions. And it is a fact that too few of our men in society are involved in leadership. The issue of mistakes is one of the reasons why this is true. Because the focus of this book is men becoming more involved in leadership, fatherhood, mentoring, and education in our society, we need to take a look at the normal and not so normal issues of life. Mistakes are a normal part of life, everyone's life. Each of us have a different way of viewing ourselves in this life. Do our mistakes have a positive or negative impact on how we view ourselves, on how others view us? Do our mistakes come as occurrences of chance or inexperience, lack of knowledge, or as defects in our character? Mistakes can have extreme psychological effects on a millennial man, and we will definitely need to be aware of this. We need to know the difference between making normal, honest mistakes and irresponsible and corrupt living. Millennial men should not be disqualified from being considered a leader or worthy of authority and success solely because they have made mistakes in life. It is when men continue to make the same mistakes over and over again that the question of our ability to be effective and trusted leaders comes into the discussion. Whether or not a man who makes mistakes can be or should be trusted to lead and to teach or to be involved in leadership. This is an important question or issue. Depending on one's position in life, the consequences and penalties of making mistakes varies with each individual. Mistakes have cost. They have effects on our life and the world around us. This is a fact that should never be ignored or overlooked or made to be insignificant. Mistakes can cost us our life, money, health, credibility, and freedom. What mistakes should not cost us is an opportunity to advance and to be trusted as effective leaders and teachers, effective millennial men. When men have shown a good character and willingness to be honest and open about mistakes and what they have learned from them, this is a great sign that these men can be trusted, dependable leaders and teachers in our community. When men deny mistakes or act above reproach, these are the people to be leery of. All men make mistakes and have at times made foolish choices, either out of immaturity or inexperience. What man is there without fault? Are our mistakes used unjustly by people or groups or media to try and discredit us or hinder our future success? Are the mistakes we've made hidden? Are they public knowledge? Or are they private? Do we ever act on a fear of exposure of our mistakes? One example of using data about a person's history unjustly to harm his credibility is as follows. A conservative Republican was running for a Southern Senate seat. His opposition for the same seat had the media on their side. The media reported that the conservative candidate was unstable because of a visit to the doctor 25 years prior, in which he asked the doctor for some medication for depression. Unfortunately, this type of attack happens quite frequently and is unfair to all. It is one form of corruption and it is used as a tool in psychological warfare and so-called population control. It also sets a false precedent for leadership positions and their requirements, making it virtually impossible to progress if ever your faults have become public knowledge. Personal attacks should never happen to anyone unjustly or because of political affiliation or has a past that has been overcome and learned from, if the person has shown credibility. We've recently seen a double standard emerge that is quite unfortunate. Another corrupt and unfair issue when men have been convicted of felonies as a result of mistakes and bad choices. They are looked down upon as less than or not worthy of trust, respect, and leadership positions. Some of these men, I do say some, are totally worthy of trust, respect, responsibility, and leadership. They would do great if given opportunity, proper education, even though some label them as failures and untrustworthy. Each state has a vast number of men who have felony convictions. A lot of manpower. At times, the psychological state of these men is that they don't feel worthy or able to be respected citizens who are trusted in leadership positions because they've made mistakes. And the idea that the convicts don't deserve trust and will be forever corrupt. If one thinks of himself as such, what would motivate him to strive for a seemingly hopeless and impossible goal of respect in leadership positions? These ideas need to be countered by an attitude of confidence and acceptance to worthy subjects. We need to create opportunities for men to prove themselves once they pay their dues to society by honorable service and sound choices. We need more average men, American men, ex-convicts included, to be involved in the leadership of our homes and community, and to be given an opportunity to show how successful men can be in these areas despite past mistakes. The issue of mistakes needs to be discussed and not avoided or treated as if it doesn't bear any importance to a smooth running society. Also, we need to change the false impression that some have, that if by admitting our mistakes we are somehow less than or unworthy to lead or to teach. This idea makes men fear being honest and upfront when they are guilty of mistakes. To disqualify people who make mistakes is to disqualify all people. Making mistakes is a part of a normal life and needs to be treated and understood as such. Learning from our mistakes is an actual asset to our future success because of the lessons and understanding that stem from making mistakes. We need to not be so critical toward our youth when they make mistakes. When we are critical, it causes a psychological defect. It also hinders their ability to advance mentally, especially when addressing the issues of failures and mistakes. They have a problem with admission, which will affect growth and self-worth. Men who lead are held to a higher standard, and rightly so, since society depends on them to lead with honesty and with integrity and with a good, solid work ethic. Leaders should be trusted to care about the welfare of society and not to be corrupt and dishonest. Can a man with major mistakes in his past fill such requirements? Yes. Do those who currently fill those positions meet those requirements? Millennial men. We need to learn from our mistakes and hold ourselves to a higher standard than we have in the past, a much higher standard. Practicing trustworthiness and self-control, which is a later chapter, is necessary in order to become counted worthy men in leadership in the many areas needed. Overcoming mistakes and failures is a normal part of every man's growth. To be truly successful in this as men, even after major mistakes, is to open the door to many opportunities in the future. This will allow average men to progress outside of the box that our current stereotypical system has us in. Average normal men without supposed stature of leader. Mistakes alone should never keep the millennial man out of leadership or the fight for freedom and the pursuit of happiness or educating our people. All great leaders have made mistakes and went on to prove themselves as worthy leaders. We need to not allow anyone or any system to strip us of this same opportunity because we've made mistakes. The ability of men who have made mistakes to progress in leadership may not be an easy task to accomplish, but it is a task worthy of fighting for to the benefit of all society. By having such a vast calling for men to be involved in our society's leadership and educational evolution, we are in essence taking back our lives as free citizens and becoming less dependent on big imposing government or foreign ideas that are naturally contrary to a free nation and her people. Millennial men, rise to the call of your duty and learn from your mistakes. Lead your people. Do not allow a corrupt system to dictate your worth as leaders and teachers in our society. Become educated men of integrity, able to be trusted and depended upon, even after mistakes and failures of your past. That's the end of the chapter.